Happily Ever After certainly wasn't Filmation's Happily Ever After, as the studio was shut down before this ever saw proper release. Filmation had big plans for theatrical pseudo-sequels, but Happily Ever After and Pinocchio and the Emperor of the Night were the only two actually ever made. Filmation's other planned Disney pseudo-sequels were The Challenge of Cinderella, Bambi, Prince of the Forest, The Son of Sleeping Beauty, The Continuing Adventures of the Jungle Book, and Alice Returns to Wonderland. They did also have some non-Disney pseudo-sequels planned as well, with Time Machine 2, The Man Who Saved the Future, 20 Million Leagues Across the Universe, Frankenstein Lives Again, The Further Adventures of Gulliver, and New Tales of the Arabian Nights. They had also announced The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus at the same time as all these, which possibly wasn't trying to be a weirdo pseudo-sequel to anything. It does seem like this is the one title is just going to be a straight-up Filmation adaptation of the L. Frank Baum book. I hope that one was supposed to be a sequel to A Snow White Christmas, though, as that would have been nice and extra confusing. Like I talked about before, Filmation had already made a pseudo-sequel to Snow White before with A Snow White Christmas. However, that one was a TV special and done with Filmation's usual stiffer style, where they poured a bunch more money into Happily Ever After like Pinocchio Emperor of the Night, so it would have much nicer animation and some known names. Ed Asner returned, but instead of being a raccoon, this time he was the Owl Scowl. Florida! Frank Welker also returned, again as a buddy of the Ed Asner character, but this time as the Bat, Batso. Batso's parents really thought long and hard on that one. Malcolm McDowell is the main antagonist, Lord Malice. At first they were going to name him Mr. Subtle before they settled on Lord Malice. Tracy Ullman of having the Beta Simpsons on her show fame was two of the dwarf elves, Moonbeam and Thunderella. Hello! Zsa Zsa Gabor was the dwarf elf Blossom. Sally Kellerman was the grumpy replacement of sorts, Sunburn. Phyllis Diller is the super nurturing Mother Nature.
The high and the mighty scrape off the bottoms of their shoes and hand us flattened human stool. Ho ha!
Dom DeLuise as the magic mirror replacement, the Looking Glass. Even though the magic mirror is from the original tale, Filmation had to be more careful with this one and likely changed it as they couldn't have gotten away with how close their version of the mirror was last time.
He's a friendly mirror. I can't imagine playing an unfriendly mirror.
And another interesting casting was singer Irene Cara as Snow White.
And Grammy Award winner Irene Cara.
I'm Snow White. The dwarf elf said you might help me.
Even back then, I guess there's talk about the colorblind casting of her as Snow White, apparently even shocked Irene Cara. Yes. Supposedly, Irene Cara was Beauty in Good Times Beauty and the Beast. I say supposedly because it's hard to confirm anything with those Golden Films movies that didn't credit anyone. Someone has added the credit, though, on IMDb, and I'm not convinced. There is a kind of slight squeak quality to Irene Cara's voice, which I think gives her a really interesting voice for animation, but I don't hear that in Beauty's voice acting.
Hello, where are you? I'm so thirsty. I hope you won't mind.
It's my 18th year this month, because it's my birthday.
Don't make this more difficult than it already is. Go and think kindly of me.
And I mean, people also ran away with crediting Jan Rabson as Old Man, and the one time he was directly asked about that on Twitter, he said he didn't think it was him. So yeah, I really don't think that is Irene Cara in that one, but I had to mention it, otherwise I'd be told I forgot, right? Now, as I mentioned in the Emperor of the Night video, Disney got litigious and attempted to prevent Filmation from releasing any of their sequel movies to any of the public domain fairy tales Disney had adapted. We need Filmation to return now and make Steamboat Willie too. Typical. I love that in his book, Creating the Filmation Generation, Lou Scheimer called Disney's lawsuit bullshit. And a lot of this really was, as this lawsuit was happening before Filmation even made anything. Jeffrey Katzenberg was calling these planned movies rip-offs of the Disney versions. Filmation's lawyers stated that what Disney clearly intends is to prevent the entry of a new competitor into the marketplace. Which was probably partly true, but again, I think it would have been better if Filmation just started fresh on their adaptations instead of these sneaky sequels. While Filmation won in the end, they still had to waste millions in court over this and ended up changing the names of their sequels to try and get Disney off their back. A move Lou Scheimer says he regretted in the end because he still doesn't think Disney would have had any legal ground to stand on. But that's why I guess that the Snow White sequel doesn't actually have Snow White in the title of it, and Happily Ever After was actually the 5th title given to this thing. The first title was going to be Snow White and the Seven Dwarf Elves. That got changed a bit later to Snow White, The Adventure Continues.
Our story picks up where the Grimm's fairy tale ended, and so naturally, we call it Snow White, The Adventure Continues.
Then there's the title I really wish this movie still had in the end, Snow White in the Land of Doom.
Filmation presents Snow White in the Land of Doom.
Early screenings showed the movie as Snow White Happily Ever After until it just got shortened to Happily Ever After. Lou Scheimer said during the battle with Disney, he found Roy Disney to be a pretty nice guy, but Michael Eisner was rather annoying. Go figure, I guess. So while Filmation's Snow White 2 was originally finished in 1989, or 1990 according to Lou Scheimer, it still didn't see mass release until 1993, due to Filmation being sold by its parent company Westinghouse to L'Oreal. Yes, the cosmetics company. L'Oreal, though, was only interested in the library and not keeping Filmation's studio open any longer. Lou Scheimer actually tried his best to prevent this by attempting to get Dino De Laurentiis to buy the company and keep the studio open, as De Laurentiis had been interested in Filmation in the past. Lou Scheimer actually convinced Dino De Laurentiis to buy Filmation, but it'd take him a little bit of time to gather the funds, and Westinghouse didn't care to wait and just wanted the quick payday. Another rather shitty thing about this was they wanted to get the deal done and close the company quick, as in a few days a law went into effect that required companies to give workers 60 days before shutting down. After the abrupt end of Filmation, Lou Scheimer still attempted to get the Pinocchio spin-off Bugsburg finished since all 65 episodes were already written, most of the voiceovers were done, and 2 episodes were in the can. But according to Scheimer, L'Oreal would rather kill it than let someone else finish it. On the flip side though, Scheimer had been able to get the domestic rights to Happily Ever After and put the finishing touches on it for release. Had Lou Scheimer not cared enough to actually see it finished, the only place Happily Ever After would have been shown was in Bugsburg.
That's right!
Happily Ever After's eventual 1993 release was timed to be around one of Disney's re-releases of their Snow White, to which Lou Scheimer said, "I'm sure that if Disney could have sued the ghost of Filmation again, they would have." It was kind of weird though that you had the zombie company which had died 4 years ago releasing a movie.
Filmation presents Happily Ever After.
The actual budget of Happily Ever After hasn't actually ever been stated, but the company that handled the North American distribution, First National Film Corp, put $10 million into advertising it, and went bankrupt shortly after when the film only pulled in about $3.2 million. They had a fair amount of merch surrounding the movie too, with action figures and dolls of Snow White and the Prince. The dolls were clearly in development for a while, as you can find versions of them with the Snow White and the Land of Doom name on them. There is also a Super Nintendo game which got released, and an NES game which did not. A prototype was eventually found in 2015 though, and you can see on its title screen it was originally meant for a 1991 release. And that's the exhausting story of how we actually get to this movie.
Have you ever wondered what happened to Snow White after the handsome prince saved her from the wicked queen's deadly spell?
No! I guess we're gonna find out anyway.
I love being in a totally clean, non-violent, non-bloody, non-sexual movie.
Rather funny Phyllis Diller mentions this being a non-bloody affair, as there are two versions of this movie out there. One which censors several bits, including blood from when the prince shoots Malice as a dragon.
We all know the story of a maid named Snow White and of how the good dwarves tried to hide her from sight.
And now the dwarves will be hiding themselves from sight again! So just like with the 7 friendly giants in a Snow White Christmas, we got the 7 dwarf elves here so that we can avoid having to change and rename the dwarves from the Disney version.
We're their cousins, the 7 dwarf elves.
Our cousins? The dwarfs?
It's amazing how many weird sets of 7 cousins those dwarves have, isn't it? I will say, them having the Looking Glass do a recap of the original fairy tale does help a bit with this being a sequel story that didn't have a first movie, compared to Pinocchio 2 just dumping you into a weird continuity with no explanation where certain key characters have disappeared to.
And want to know what happens next? We are proud to present,
from the quite dead company at this point, Happily Ever After, which is Snow White's greatest adventure. I don't know, it'd be pretty hard to top her running into the woods, being a maid for a bit, then eating an apple and sleeping until the finale. Now, what else would this movie open up with than the old minion creatures of the evil queen having a big party and getting drunk in her now abandoned due to her slight case of death castle? Yeah, must have been some party. I like to party too, just so you are aware. So when does the killer show up? It's easy to see why the queen lost last time when she didn't utilize her top men, a smoking owl and a simple-minded bat.
Now this is what I call a party. No more evil queen.
I still feel sorry for the poor wicked queen.
Sorry, you're a bat. You're supposed to be bad.
Why? Are bats genetically predisposed to evil?
What's going on here?
A fair question. So the reign of the Rat King is over, I guess, since the evil queen's brother, Lord Malice, has come home.
Where is my sister? Keep it down, you noisy creep. You're ruining my beauty sleep.
He's a friendly mirror. I can't imagine playing an unfriendly mirror.
How dare you!
Shooting beams at a mirror that promptly get reflected back at him might not be the best way to establish Lord Malice as a threat. And speaking of threats, Malice has to threaten the damn mirror with a mace before he gets a straight answer about anything.
The queen is dead.
Malice is kinda upset about Snow White and Prince No-Name killing his sister, so he's gonna get revenge, and he's taken over.
Look, let me make things nice and sparkling clear.
Snow White
is fucking dead. D-E-E-D.
I will twist and change and distort everything in the realm of doom.
I can't imagine the Realm of Doom was a particularly nice spot in the first place.
Listen, kid, I think you should know bad like me is the way to go. I'm bad, see? You gotta be bad like me.
You haven't done anything good or bad. You sat on a windowsill smoking while the queen's brother got angry. You don't deserve a song.
I'm a dirty birdie.
He seriously just called himself a dirty bird? Wow. Ed Asner's rapping owl song was apparently so good they even used it in the trailer.
He's bad. Rude dude. You got that? Yeah. So bad.
Yes, it is so bad.
If it weren't for the 7 dwarfs, I never would have found you.
I can't wait to see them again.
Well, you'd better not hold your breath, Snow White. Unless you've eaten another poison apple, I guess.
Do you think it's silly to ride all this way just to invite them to the wedding?
Yeah, it's not like they ever did that much for you, is it, Snow White? Prince Adam of Eternia and Snow White decide to stop and smell the flowers. And yeah, the prince really does look very He-Man-esque at certain times in the movie. Malice Malice shows up in dragon mode to do a little bit of avenging his sister, but more importantly, Scal and Fatso are here to do nothing of worth and be annoying. Hey, I'm back! This is when Prince Adam draws first blood, which is censored by cutting around the shots of blood on the DVD version. Though, shooting Malice while he's holding your fiancé up in the sky might have been a little short-sighted there, Prince. Lucky for her, though, a tree breaks her fall. Snow White then escapes through the forest, which is a totally new thing for her. Good thing this is a sequel. I will say, though, at least Happily Ever After does not have Snow White take any poison and fall asleep. Darn! If only I could turn into a human and enter the woods after her! Oh yeah, I am a human. I forgot. I'm just an idiot, I guess.
Who are you?
Big Daddy?
Fatality.
I mean, Malice should have just killed him there, though, right? This next bit was another one too extreme for the DVD as Malice picks Prince Adam up by the hair, which is totally ouchie ouch, so you gotta censor that with some stupid zooms. They can still clearly hear the sound of Malice dropping him.
You can be sure of that. You can be sure of that.
Snow White keeps remaking the first story by running through creepy woods right to the dwarf's house.
So tired. I can't go on.
You really couldn't make it a few more feet through the door? That's Snow White. She's always so sleepy. So instead of just breaking into the dwarf's place with a bunch of animals, this time someone brought this sleeping beauty of sorts in and dumped her on a bed. Now with her Prince of Eternia possibly dead, Snow White immediately launches into action by checking herself out in the mirror and dancing around. True love isn't all it's cracked up to be, apparently. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the least concerned of them all? This is when Snow White meets the 7 replacement elves. We are the 7 friendly dwarf elves.
Dwarf elves, eh? Useless little fools.
It's time to laugh again!
Why, you're not the 7 dwarfs.
They opened up a new mine way over in the next kingdom.
Who are you? Big Daddy?
I guess the dwarf elves, though, are a slightly stronger posse to have around as they've got magic where their stupid cousins just had pickaxes and bad hygiene. Though, to be fair, one of the dwarf elves, Pig Penette, seems to be right there with them on that. The dwarf elves also have a giant pet bunny they ride. Guess that's just a normal thing, don't worry about it.
Thunderella? Your name should be Blunderella.
Ready! Glad someone is finding this funny.
I don't believe I got your names.
I'm Muddy.
Muddy, 'cause she likes mud. I suppose, though, this is in line with that whole dwarf family naming scheme. So the dwarf elves all kind of have different elemental type powers, except...
I'm Critterina. I take care of all the animals in the forest.
You can't be doing a very good job considering how many animals have taken up jobs with the evil queen and her bro.
Moonbeam's in charge of the night.
Which is not at all like Sleepy. And I suppose Moonbeam and the Emperor of the Night must have had many battles over who really owns the night.
Good morning.
You cross it.
A 1 and a 2 and a 3.
Most you cross it.
Show me where they're headed. Rainbow Falls. This time, Snow White won't be so lucky.
You shouldn't stick your face so close to my screen, Malice. Bad for your eyes.
How fucking dare you!
Why didn't we tell Lord Malice where we were?
He's gonna tear us apart. You're tearing me apart!
Why, what's the matter, Thunderella?
I can't do anything right.
Yeah, that's true.
Interesting. Hey,
think I'll take a look.
Oh, we get an Emperor of the Night cameo from Igor, which I bet most people didn't notice or care about. Wake me up when Grumblebee is here, am I right? Imagine if he teamed up with Scal and Batso. The pointlessness levels would be off the scale! So after introducing us to 7 new characters, naturally we need another one, so the gang goes to see Mother Nature.
Mother Nature has so many things to do.
Sure, but could you please stop shaking it, Mother Nature? I really don't need that.
That's Mother Nature?
I want to speed up global warming now.
Oh my!
Madam doesn't like to be disturbed when she's working.
This isn't Alice in Wonderland. Get out of here with the annoying flowers.
Oh, I hope I haven't goofed again.
Bet you can't guess that one.
Is it a horsefly?
Mother Nature then starts destroying her stupid joke creatures because she's a monster.
Yeah. And who might you be, young lady?
I'm Snow White.
Sorry, babe. Not allowed in the boneyard.
What?
Anyway, if you thought we'd get to a point here, you were sorely mistaken because Mother Nature has to reprimand Thunderella for not controlling her powers properly. She also threatens to fire all the dwarf elves. She's so nurturing. Meanwhile, the prince has been chopped into a million pieces by Malice at this point. Malice actually has to interrupt the scene himself to try and get the main plot moving forward again. Only to find out he's severely underleveled to be trying to take on Mother Nature. Shouldn't Malice have a bit more malice to him? Just look how worried everyone is about this threatening villain showing up.
Don't worry. He can't harm us here.
He was a flying dragon less than a minute ago, you crazy old bat!
Don't you want to know what happened to your precious prince?
Oh, please.
I thought so. The answer lies in my castle in the realm of doom.
Now I shall fly away, but not over that little ravine to you. That would be impossible.
He looked so terrible.
Unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
Don't you worry. You'll be safe if you stay with us.
I'm going to die.
Mother Nature is about to strip the dwarf elves of their powers, but because Snow White wants them to join her fellowship of the Thing, they get one more chance to die.
You miscreants have one last chance.
A chance to die.
Lord Malice is very powerful. In his own domain, even I cannot stop him.
So I won't even try. Have fun going off to die.
Thank you, Mother Nature.
For nothing.
Follow the path.
The path of the hermit concealed by flowers.
Yeah.
Snow White and the gang have to make their way through the mines of Borea, but now they're being followed by something super scary. Orko. I assume they'll have to teach Orko Sr. here the true meaning of Christmas before he can join up with Scal, Batso, and Grumblebee to form the ultimate Wonder Dummies.
Who are you?
Tweedledee the Wonder Dummy.
I suck! Eat a rock, assholes!
He's hurt.
Now's the time to finish him off.
I bet he works for Lord Malice.
The Fellowship gets flushed down the toilet before they can find out that stupid Orko was really Old Man Jenkins or something.
We made it to the realm of doom.
Wow, they finally made it. Through one cave. That was seriously the entire trip? Probably could have spent a bit more time building up getting to the land of doom rather than just dinking around with stupidity, but you do you, movie.
Do what you like with those idiot dwarf elves, but do not harm Snow White.
Even though they are now in his domain, Malice doesn't just fly over and fry them as a dragon because of reasons only he knows. Maybe Malice is just having a lazy day. Critterina again shows off how completely useless she is by immediately not getting along with the creatures here. But Blossom saves the day by making some flowers grow, and then immediately die. Snow White probably actually would have been better off with pickaxes and BO from the OG dwarves. Malice's horn dogs then show up, which again gives Critterina a chance to be useful, so of course she's not. Bruh? Did you just say bruh? What a cunning plan, Orko! Plan bruh goes off without a shit to give, and speaking of things not to care about, Malice has Scowl dangling over a boiling cauldron with the rope set to burn.
Lord Malice!
Yeah, that situation sure is a lot of who cares, bears.
I better get back to the others. Won't you come with me?
I could have just eye-zapped her about 50 minutes ago and saved us all a lot of time. Well said. Batso, unfortunately, accidentally saves Scowl, leading to... Nothing is accomplished here. Nothing is accomplished here. Nothing is accomplished here. Waste of time. We then get a not changing background for a shot change. Oops. I'm glad Filmation wasn't still alive to see that. Then prepare for the thrilling action of the dwarf elves versus evil lizards and cows. This is a real ass Spike movie, I tell ya. Malice then plays a hilarious prank on Snow White by cosplaying as the prince with no name.
What's wrong, my dear? Don't you trust your beloved prince?
Look!
You'll never see your prince again!
Unless you tune in to He-Man and the Masters of the Universe Saturday mornings.
Thank you, my darling, darling.
Darling. I'm through with Malice. You're better looking.
So we just needed someone to lightly flirt with that stupid mirror to get him to stop trying to have Snow White murdered? Snow White then hits her limit break and unleashes her ultimate attack.
You...
Don't worry, Snow White. Orko is here to save the day.
Orko!
Uh-oh. Now for my next trick.
The only trick we want to see is you disappearing.
I'm regenerating. Feels different this time. You killed him.
Yeah. Who would have expected this face turn from Malice? Next, we get a moment that truly needed censoring. More hair pulling. Truly scary stuff there. It's like someone said, well, we're cutting out that little bit of blood. Are there any other extremely pointless things we can censor while we're at it?
Choose your pose. You'll stand here forever, cast in stone.
One last edit, and it's about as pointless, with shots of the dwarf elves beating up Malice removed. The censor edit actually causes a bit of a continuity error as they cut in a shot of Snow White putting her hands to her face in shock, even though currently her arms are still supposed to be tied up at this point. Now here's something they clearly should have censored: all the dwarf elves getting stoned. Yes, I'm dry coughing my own joke. Turns out Malice missed one, and of course it's time for Thunderella, Ella, to zap the shit out of him. What? Oh, you poor, useless man.
I cared for him as dearly as the prince.
Why?
That bitch!
Now that the danger's gone, I'm here. I'll never forget the time you almost followed me and then got mad at your reflection. I guess that does explain Snow White's strong bond to Orko. And since they forgot to do Pikachu's tears at the end of Pinocchio 2, they're gonna bust that one out for Snow White 2.
Malice cast a spell on me.
Ah, yes, it makes a lot of sense that Malice just turned you into a different He-Man character instead of killing you. Malice, you failure! You deserve to be a stupid human head dragon statue.
And we will have 2 new apprentices to train.
Maybe working for this Ma Nature ain't gonna be so bad.
There could even be a Scowl and Batso spin-off! You know, they were thinking it.
Are you ready to live happily ever after?
As happy as Filmation. Happily Ever After is quite an interesting little movie, but its backstory is kind of more interesting than the actual film. Still, though, there's a fair amount to like here with some nice animation and twists on the Snow White lore. Snow White is also the main hero instead of just needing to be saved all the time, so that's kind of nice. And this one did its own thing instead of kind of copying the original fairy tale more than the Pinocchio sequel. Though they did fall into the trap again of wasting too much time on the supposedly comedic side characters. I do wish Filmation had stayed around a bit longer so we could have seen more of their odd takes in the pseudo-sequel series, but they didn't. And that's our Happily Ever After.
By the power of Grayskull!